Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we're taking a look at from the Transformers 1 line. This is the Wave 1 Robot Battlers, Sentinel Prime, Elita-1, and Bumblebee. I got these off of Amazon.com, where they're available now. And these are simplified transforming figures that have a battle game component. All of that it will be explained, and I'll get into it, as well as going through some of the issues. Just to start off at the top, when you buy one of these figures and they retail for around $15, you get the base, which activates the battle function, as well as a weapon and figure. Um, Now, the original um, promotional blurb from Hasbro mentioned that these had articulated arms, heads, and legs. And while the arms do move for the battle gimmick, that's all they do. And the legs, if they move, it's strictly for the transformation. The figures are really, once you peg them onto the base, they're locked into place. The other thing is part of the gimmick, the battle game part, is you're supposed to be able to knock the figure off the base. Well, we'll demonstrate that a little later on, but let me just say right at the top, I was playing with these for about 10 to 15 minutes, and while there was a lot of clashing of plastic, these figures aren't coming off these stands. So I'm not really sure what was going on there. Um, so what we'll do is we'll pause, give me a chance to readjust, and we'll start off by taking a look at Sentinel Prime. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the figure from the base. And basically the figure pegs in. Um, there's two posts at the bottom of the foot. Now, we're going to start off looking at the base. As you'll notice, there's one peg, and then there's a peg with post in it, or pin. That's connected to the uh, finger notch that actually articulates and rotates the base. Now, I'm going to be honest, the instructions aren't that good, which is great for a guy like me, but you guys come to me for explanation. But then it is hard to then translate what's going on. All the figures are shown with um, the finger notches in a neutral or closed position with the post facing forward, so the figure faces forward. That's not how it comes packed. Now you can, if you notice here, there's little arrows on the disc. I'm not 100% sure if that's meant that these are supposed to line up with the base there, or that's just the direction of where the figure should be facing. Um, but either way, like you can rotate this base, but I'm a little concerned that it feels like I'm damaging the gears. Also, it really doesn't uh, do anything in terms of helping the figure. Like, let me just show you real quick. I'm going to put Sentinel Prime back on. Once these figures are on here, they're not getting off. And once they're on there, this is basically how they flail around. And real quick, I'll just bring in Bumblebee as a demonstration counterpoint. This is how they're supposed to fight. Now, the instructions show that the weapons are supposed to hit each other. And the best I've done is at one point I think I knocked Bumblebee's sword out of its hand. But if you listen, you hear that clashing of plastic. That's like that cheap plastic sound. Oh, look at that! I had a wheel pop off. Uh, oh, I had the other wheel pop off. But you know what? That's not from battling. That was from me trying to transform the figure on the base just to see if it could do it. And it when it came down, it hit the base and probably pushed it out. But you saw it mushroom break, it went back in. So yeah, I was doing this for 10 minutes. These are not coming off the base. So if you want to play some sort of competitive game, uh, yeah, you're gonna have to figure something else out. And while we're talking about the bases, let me just demonstrate that um, the rotating parts are all different, but the finger holes are the same. So as you can see, uh, the disc parts are the same, but the main platform, different designs. Although Looking at it, I believe, yeah, Bumblebee and RCs are just repaints of each other. So there is that. Now, another thing I wanted to mention is Bumblebee and RC all appear to have weapon storage in vehicle mode. Sentinel Prime does not. And that's kind of interesting because having seen the Wave 2 releases, one of the figures is Starscream, which is going to be an obvious retool of Sentinel Prime, and that has weapon storage under the nose cone. Well, I looked, and the nose cones here are different, so I don't understand why Sentinel Prime doesn't have the weapon storage. That does end up, you do have the chance of losing the piece. And if you look, because this is the same weapon that comes with Starscream, there's even a notch there that it was meant to tab into something. By the way, cool looking sword here, a little blast effect. Um, so to get into the transformation, it's very easy. First thing you want to do is unpeg the torso here, flip it up. There's a slot there and a tab at the rear of the jet. That's going to peg in. Now the arms are going to flop around, and you kind of actually want them to do that because you're going to bring them down and they're going to friction into place right there along the side. They're still a little loose though. But then what you do is when it come into the bottom here and the legs peg together. See, that's the other thing. I tried doing like putting them on the base with one leg. You end up having like that really only works with Sentinel Prime because everybody else has like joined legs. Um, they peg together, but there's also notches here on the back that go into slots here under the nose cone. So just bring this up, and there's a slot right there at the rear by the robot's chest, and a tab on the foot that's going to peg in. And there you go. You have Sentinel Prime in its robot mode with no place whatsoever to store the weapon, unless I am missing something so obvious I should be ashamed of myself. But seeing as how in the instructions they mentioned the weapon storage for RC and Bumblebee, and there was no mention here for Sentinel Prime, I'm going to say there isn't any. But I got to say, first of all, we have a jet mode or shuttle mode that looks a lot closer to what we're going to see in the film and is closer to the CGI renders that's been on the packaging. I like this. You have a nice metallic blue here. The guns here. This actually, if you remember looking at the Prime Changer, there's the shoulder guns, there's the wing guns right there, and the transformation is fairly similar with like the legs coming around. So this is a very smoothable, fun jet. In fact, I actually enjoy these more as a simplified transformer than I do as playing the game. So to get back into robot mode, just very quickly, bring the legs down and peg them from the shoulder area there. Like I said, they will uh, peg together, and when you peg them together, that will line up the tabbing that goes under the nose cone. Bring the arms up, unpeg the chest, and then bring it down. And real quick, just to give you a close up of Sentinel Prime's head here, um, that's clearly a battle mask that looks very Primish. So, if that makes sense. Put the weapon back in the hand. I do notice there's posts there, so who knows what that's for. But then you just plop them back on the base, and it's ready to make clashing plastic noises, for like an hour. I mean, this is kind of therapeutic to do, but I thought this was really supposed to be a new version of Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and it ends up being just something else entirely. So what we'll do now is we'll pause, and we will come back and take a look at Bumblebee. And here's Bumblebee. Now, a few things to note. Bumblebee, like Elita-1, is basically from the torso down a solid piece. There's no leg movement or anything like that. So again, that contradicts uh, the promotional blurb. Also, this figure will be repacked in Wave 2, so there's only going to be two new figures in that wave. Um, the blast effect is the sword looks more like a blast effect, and actually it's a different mold than Elita's, so that's nice. But we can take the figure off the base, which we already looked at. We know that this is going to be repainted into Elita-1s, but it's a different mold than Sentinel Prime. Very nice Bumblebee. I have to say, I think the Bumblebees I've handled thus far from Transformers 1 do the Cybertronian movie design a lot better than the Bumblebee movie figure. Start the transformation. What you want to do is uh, remove the weapon from the hand, and we're going to fold up the sides here. There are the arms are going to tuck in behind the chest. There's a post there, slot on the side, so that will close it up, and then you fold up the front. Now, and this is where, if you remember from Sentinel Prime, the wheels popped off because I tried to do this on the base just to see if it can be done. Uh, and that's what caused the friction to pop off, which I didn't notice until I started filming. There's a little tab on the inside of the weapon that goes into a slot here on the top, and you have a very nice rolling Bumblebee. That's kind of cool. And again, if you remember the Prime Changer, there's the feet for the Prime Changer. Those back tail fins, the sides. So they really capture the detail. Yeah, yeah, I would say it's transformed a little more simply than, or simpler than Sentinel Prime. So just remove the weapon to go back to robot mode. Flip up the front. That will reveal the feet, and open up the sides until they snap into place. Re-add the weapon to the hand, and back on the base it goes. So, yeah. I mean, I like these. As I said, it's set in the prime. I like the weapon gimmick. I'm sorry, I like the transformation. The battling gimmick is fun, but if you can't knock them off the base, and unless I'm doing something horribly wrong, uh, I don't know really what to do. So, we're going to pause right now and take a look at Elita-1. And here's Elita-1, otherwise known as, I think, the only other Scarlett Johansson toy I have. Um, this borrows heavily from RC designs. That's kind of interesting. I guess they wanted to have the Orion Pax Elita-1 relationship, so that's why it isn't RC. As I mentioned, the weapon is unique. Well, at least now unique to RC. Excuse me, Elita-1. Uh, Kind of cool looking. I do appreciate it. Although I kind of feel that Sentinels looks more like a sword than just a random blast effect. As we mentioned, this is a repaint of Bumblebee's base, which is a retool, which is different than Sentinels. So we'll put that off to the side. And yeah, there's the head. Kind of interesting. Um, really, now all that's left is to get into the transformation. So move the weapon, and like Bumblebee, the sides are going to fold. Oh, first thing you want to do is fold up the wheel here and the head. This will come all around. There are tabs on the side of the wheel that will peg into uh, the sides of the chest and arm and back wings. This will all peg together. And then presto changeo, you have a very cool looking futuristic motorcycle. There's a on the back here. There's a little bit of a slot that the weapon will tap into. Now I don't know if these wheels are split. This is supposed to be a three-wheeled motorcycle, or it's split because of the transformation. It's just meant to be like one motorcycle. It's, I'm sorry, one wheel. So, but it does roll. Um, Front wheel here has a little bit of a clearance issue. Let's see, you can, if you press, I don't know, even if you don't, but I think if you have like on a grippy surface, that'll help. But I kind of dig it. It looks nice. I'm sure if this line goes further than two ways, we will see this repainted into Elite RC. I just feel that. So remove the weapon. We're gonna butterfly it down the middle here, split it open. Uh, bring those around the side. There are tabs there that I'll peg into. Fold the wheel back, and that will just tab open. There's a little tab there that stops the movement. So the chest is upright. Once again, there's the head. Return the weapon to the hand, and there you go. And then just to put it back on the base, like Bumblebee, it's all a solid piece, so there's no leg movement. So it'll just pop in. Instead of popping into the feet proper, it pops into like little bits on the side. But yeah, um, really not much more to say about it. So we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. So here's the gang for a final group shot. And like I said, I like these more as simplified transforming figures than I do as um, for the Robot Battlers game figures. Because at least in my case, and again, if I'm missing something, I hope someone corrects me. Um, the fact that you can't knock them off the base, that the base does not come lined up properly uh, in the packaging, and I think that's just to secure it in the packaging. Um, or maybe it does. I don't know. I don't know if it matters. Um, that takes away from that aspect. So when you're going to buy these, go into buying a simplified transforming figure that um, it's going to come with a weapon, but all it's going to do is transform. There's no articulation. There's nothing like that. They're closer to the movie designs, so that's good, especially with Sentinel Prime. And enjoy them like that. Like they're nice little fiddle toys, and I think that's kind of cool. And it's figures like this and like sublines like Robot Battlers that I really enjoy from the movie lines because it gives us a different take on how to present a transforming figure, but with an extra play pattern to it. So, I mean, because really think about it. They could have just made these static figures and, focused on the battling part. The fact that they put in that like extra level of transformation really takes it to that notch above Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which I thought this was going to be a new take on. There is also a deluxe set with Optimus Prime and Megatron. They come with two weapons each. That I have coming. That'll be here sometime next week. I got that from Entertainment Earth. That is available on Amazon for about $30. So if you want to pick it up there, I do believe also these are starting to show up in stores. So yeah. Um, recommendations, definitely pick up Sentinel Prime. I think it's the best. It's the best looking. And you can see how the wings there make the figure a little bit taller. So yeah, that is kind of cool. Other than that, I mean, Elita-1 and Bumblebee are kind of the same. So uh, it's like go for like who your favorite is. I would really, if anything, pick up Sentinel Prime and that starter set, and then go from there and see how much you like it or the person you're buying it for likes it. But other than that, other than my issues with the discrepancies from the promotional blurb and not being able to knock the figures off. And by the way, I should also mention there is a concern for me that of paint scraping and possible breakage from long-term bashing of the figures and the plastic together. So I should mention that. But yeah, that's about it. So if you like this review, like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, I will always appreciate the views, the likes, comments, and subscriptions. Help to communicate to YouTube through the algorithm that my channel should be exalted and held upon high. As I also want to make a point of mentioning to any new viewers who are here for the movie reviews, the movie figure reviews, please do subscribe. Between 83 to 88% of you are not subscribed who watch my videos. And that really does affect the algorithm and affects YouTube promoting my channel. As I had somebody comment once, How is my channel not bigger having been around this long and presenting all the figures I have? And it really has to do with the people not subscribing and just getting the word out. It's becoming harder and harder to promote your videos on social media. I've come to notice because there's like in Facebook groups and on Transformer web pages, they just won't treat it as news. And there are just some people who are anti-review for whatever reason. Um, you know, we're all a family here. We're trying to create conversation and provide information through our reviews and also make a little bit of scratch with it. I'll be very honest. If I didn't have this YouTube channel, I'm really not sure what, if any, movie figures or mainline figures I would be collecting at this point, because getting the little bit back from the ad revenue does help. Speaking of getting a little bit back, I do have a Patreon. It is www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. All I ask for is $1 a month, $12 a year. No thrills, no tears, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help you to help me help you bring figures like this to you, as well as keeping up the infrastructure of the channel. As I always say, if you can't afford the $1 a month, $12 a year, your views are more than thanks enough. Patreon is just a cherry on top of an already generous Sunday. So that's about it for the review. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for supporting the channel this year, but all the years it's been around. For Sentinel Prime, Elita-1, and Bumblebee, the Robot Battlers Wave 1. We will see you next time.